Welcome, yogis. Today we are going to go through a hip opening flow. So, we're going to go through a sequence that's going to open our hips up in a lot of different ways and help us release some of that stress and tension that lives in our hips. So, I will meet you on our backs to start today. So, gently come down to the mat. Go ahead and lay on your back, whatever feels comfortable. You can place your feet on the floor, hands can be on your stomach, by your sides, just whatever feels good. We're going to start to ground, start to drop into our practice. You've made it to the mat. Allow yourself to take this next 30 minutes just for you. Let go of any to-do list. Let go of whatever's happened so far today, and just be here. Begin to deepen the breath, extending the inhale and the exhale. Today our focus is opening the hips, and while part of this focus is just allowing those hip muscles to feel nice and stretched, another big focus is also relieving some stress and tension from our body. We have a muscle that is our primary hip flexor muscle, and it's called the psoas, and it's responsible for a lot of our fight or flight in the body. It's where we store a lot of that stress. So anytime your body feels startled or stressed, that psoas muscle actually tightens. Take a minute to think about how many times in a day maybe you feel stressed, emotionally or physically. How many times a day is that muscle tightening? All that tension, we carry it around in lots of different places, but a lot of it we carry around in our hips. So as we move today, yes, focus on opening the hips, but also see if you can feel your energy shift. See if you can feel some of that stress release happening in the body. Go ahead and bring your knees up to the chest. Give yourself a big hug. Roll gently side to side. By now, hopefully you've had a chance to really drop in. You're focusing on those long inhales and exhales. Take a moment right now before we begin our practice to set an intention. What do you want today's practice to look like? Go ahead and bring your hands to your knees, and we're just going to start by rolling our knees one direction in a big circle. Our back is still grounding into the mat. Our breath is still deepening. Once you've gone one way, go ahead and rotate, go the other direction. Already starting to feel some of those hip muscles open up and move. From here, grab the back of the thighs and we're going to rock and roll forward. You can do this as many times as feels good. And eventually roll over those shin bones and we'll come to a tabletop position. From here, reconnect with that breath as we move into some cat-cows, getting some spinal flexion at the beginning of our practice. So inhale, heart comes forward, gaze comes up, cow pose. Exhale, beginning from the tailbone, arch your back, head comes down, cat pose. Inhale, cow, feeling that opening in our back, in our heart. Exhale, cat pose, arching the back. Go ahead and add any organic movement to this cat-cow. Sway side to side, movement front and back. Open up our spine, get it ready to move. And then, when you're ready, go ahead and tuck the toes. We're going to gently and mindfully come up to a downward facing dog. Keep that mindful space you've been in as you start to pedal out in the feet. Take your dog for a walk. You can continue some of that organic movement, maybe a nice sway side to side. Just really waking up the body for our practice. From here, find a moment of stillness, feet grounding down, hips up towards the sky. Then gently bend the knees, look forward. Slowly make your way to the top of the mat. From here, we find ourselves in a forward fold. Go ahead and start with our feet nice and wide. And just let your body sink towards the earth. Grab opposite elbow, gently sway side to side, feeling those hamstrings open. Go ahead and find stillness, and we'll hang for just a few more minutes. Moments, not minutes. From here, slowly roll up. See how slow you can go. Really enjoying this moment. Go ahead and roll out the shoulders once you get to the top. And from here, you decide, feet hip width apart or feet flush together. Let's flow a little bit. Arms come up towards the sky. We inhale, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, extending the spine and the neck forward, grounding in the feet. Exhale down to our forward fold, plant the hands, step one foot back, step the other foot back. We're in our plank pose. Don't panic, just breathe. Your palms are pushing away from the mat. You're opening up in that back body, not sinking down. Heels are pulling towards the back of the mat. From here, we'll slowly descend to the ground. Flip the feet, push into the palms, come up, cobra pose. You can nod your cobra side to side, get some movement in the neck. Then we'll come back down to the mat, curl the toes, push up, plank pose, and then back, downward facing dog. See if you can find stillness here. Our thighs are rotating internally, our arms and elbows rotating externally. Heels are grounding towards the mat. Our thumb and our index finger are helping to support our arms. From here, bend the knees, step or hop to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hands at heart. Tadasana pose. From here, our arms come up. We'll go back down to our forward fold, plant the palms, step back into our downward facing dog. Bring the toes together, lift the right leg high, three-legged dog. See if you can keep the hips level with each other, and then bend in that right leg, open the hip circles. Make those hip circles nice and big, opening up in that right hip. Then back up to three-legged dog. Bring the right leg forward. runner's lunge. We're going to keep that back knee up. You can kind of move forward and back in that runner's lunge if it feels good. See if you can power up in the core, avoid dumping into those hands. From here, we're going to move our toes to the side of the mat, kind of like in a forward fold. Bend into that left knee, come onto our right heel, straighten the right leg, Skandasana. Your heel in that left foot doesn't need to come down. It can stay up. If it does come down, awesome. If not, don't push it. Just notice where you are today. Keep those right toes flexed. See if you can press the hips back. Come onto your fingertips. Avoid dumping all of your weight. Lengthen in the spine. From here, we'll come and plant that right foot, plant the left foot, and we'll meet in a wide-legged forward fold. You can kind of hang out here, arms relaxing down. Or if you're able, those palms can come to the center in line with the arches of the feet. You can start to make a 90-degree angle with those arms and bring the head down. Breathe. See if you can return to that deep breath. From here, we'll walk the fingers forward back into our runner's lunge. Plant the palms, step the right foot back to downward facing dog. And we will repeat on the other side. Our left leg comes up. We bend in that left knee, open the hip, and start our hip circles. Keeping that breath, keeping a strong body. We go back up three-legged dog, bring that left foot forward, runner's lunge. From here, see if you can fire up in the core, avoid dumping into those front fingers. You can do a nice sway front and back, whatever feels good. Then we're going to point our toes the opposite direction, this time in forward fold. We're going to bend into that right knee, left leg comes straight, Skandasana on the other side. Again, perfectly fine for that heel to come up. Fingertips are on the floor, flexing in the left foot. Fire up in that core, avoid dumping your torso forward. Breathe here. Exhale, come back to your forward fold, your wide-legged forward fold. Again here, your hands can meet in line with the arches of the feet. Maybe you take a different variation. Hands can come to ankles. You can grasp opposite elbow, rock gently side to side. Whatever feels right on this side. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, walk forward, back into our runner's lunge. Plant the palms, step the left foot back, downward facing dog, and we will vinyasa. From here, come forward, plank pose, push forward on the toes, chaturanga to up dog, or you can repeat belly to cobra. If you're doing chaturanga, power up dog, we're opening that heart. I will meet you in downward facing dog. We'll take a breath in and a breath out. Come down to our knees. Your choice, extended child's pose or regular child's pose, whatever feels right for your body. But just take a moment to relax, a moment to catch your breath. Take a quick check-in on how your body has changed so far. You've done a little bit of hip opening, starting to release some of that tension. From here, we'll come back up. I'll meet you in downward facing dog. We return to our three-legged dog. Right leg comes up. This time we're going to bring our right foot forward to the outside of our right hand into our lizard's lunge. From here, we're going to drop the back knee and just take a moment here, moving forward and backwards in our lizard. Strong outer foot, your knees in line with that right arm. Then from here, we're going to inhale, exhale, pull that right foot back, come into a half split variation. So you're flexing those right toes, your right leg is straightening any amount. Try to avoid dumping in that left hip. Fire up in that core. Then we're going to move forward back into that lizard's lunge. Inhale, exhale, back into our half splits. Inhale, exhale, back to lizard's lunge. Move through a few more of those on your own, just opening up, lubricating that right hip. Continuing to deepen our breath. After you've done a few, I'll meet you back in lizard's lunge. From here, you can plant your left hand. We're going to come into a crooked monkey variation. So you're going to take that right foot and move the toes out about 45 degrees. Now from here, you can scoot your left knee back a little bit. Right hand can come to the inside of that right knee. You could come onto the outside of your right foot and push that knee out any amount. Just find what feels good here. Don't push too hard. We're not going for anything crazy. Just a slight opening in that right hip. From there, we'll come back, plant our right palm, tuck the back toes. I'll meet you in downward facing dog. All right, let's repeat that on the other side. Left leg comes up, three-legged dog. We bring it forward to the outside of that left hand. Lizard's lunge. Go ahead and drop that back knee. Toes can stay tucked, or you can bring the top of that foot down. Again, sway a little forward and back, opening up on this other side. Notice how it feels different than the right hip. Maybe a little more tight, or maybe not. From here, we'll come into our half splits, coming onto the heel of our left foot, toes flex, firing up in that core, making sure we're not dumping into our right hip. Come back forward into our lizard lunge, and again, we're going to repeat. Move with your breath, move at whatever speed feels good to you. Just going to move back and forth between these two poses a few times. All right, we'll do one more, coming back to our half splits. And finally landing in our lizard pose. From here, back to our crooked monkey variation, we're going to swing the left toes out about 45 degrees, plant that right hand. Left hand comes to the inside of our left knee, and we can twist any amount. We're not trying to dump all of our weight into that left leg. Just find a nice opening on this side. Breathe here. Plant that left palm. Tuck the back toes. And bring the left foot back, downward facing dog. You have options here. We have one final flow. If you would like to take a rest, you can go down to extended child's pose, catch your breath. Otherwise, we'll vinyasa. I'll meet you in downward facing dog. Wherever you are, reconnect with your breath. If you're down in extended child's pose, go ahead and meet me back in down dog. In downward dog, we'll raise our right foot, three-legged dog, Bring it forward, back into our runner's lunge. From here, we turn the toes parallel to the mat, bend in our left leg, come to Skandasana. Fingertips on the ground, right toes flexed, left knee bent. From here, plant both the feet. We'll take 2 breaths in our wide-legged forward fold. Then we're going to turn towards the back of our mat, tuck the right toes, come into lizard's lunge on the left side. So your left foot is outside your left hand. We're going to keep our back leg up this time in our lizard's lunge. Keep the right hand planted, left arm goes up, lizard lunge twist. Breathe here. Feeling it nice opening in that left hip. Plant the left hand. We're going to step the left toes back, come into our downward dog, or you can do a vinyasa. Chaturanga to up dog or belly to cobra will all meet in downward facing dog. From here, we're going to repeat on the other side. So we raise our left leg, 3-legged dog, bring it forward, runner's lunge. Catch your breath here, turn the toes parallel to the mat, bend in your right leg, flex in your left foot, Skandasana on the other side. Again, lifting, making sure we're not dumping our weight, our body into the mat. Then we pivot on the feet, come into our wide-legged forward fold. Take any variation that feels good to you. We're here for 2 breaths. Walk the fingers towards the front of the mat, lizard's lunge on the right side, right foot outside of the right hand, back knee stays up. From here, we plant our left palm, right palm comes up, lizard lunge twist. Your right hip is pulling back, feeling that deep stretch. Breathe here, bring the right palm back down, step the right toes back. Our final vinyasa of the practice, take it or leave it. If your body's ready to be finished, we will meet you on your backs. If you did take the vinyasa and you're in downward facing dog, gently drop to the knees, swing the legs to one side, come onto your back. Just a few more gentle hip openers here. We're going to come into reclined pigeon. So your left foot is going to stay on the mat. Your right ankle is going to come up onto your left thigh, making a figure 4. From here, lift your left foot and then bring your fingers to interlace behind your left thigh. Keep both of the feet flexed and bright. See if you can encourage that right knee away from your body any amount. For more sensation, you'll pull the left leg closer to your body. Breathe here. This is a big pose. You're going to feel a lot of sensation in that right hip. Make sure you don't push your body too far. But send your breath into that sensation, into that opening. Go ahead and gently release the hands. Drop the left foot down. We'll switch on the other side. So now our right foot comes to the mat. our left foot comes up, creates that figure four. Our feet are bright. We bring the right foot up, interlace the fingers behind the thigh, recline pigeon on the other side. Again, you can gently encourage that left knee away from the body for more sensation. Pull the right leg in any amount. Breathe into that left hip. Gently drop the right foot back down. Release the hands. And from here, we're going to allow the knees to fall to one side and then the other. Just finding a nice release in the hips. All right, go ahead and let them drop to one more side and then come back into feet on the floor. From here, allow your feet to come out to either side of the mat, knees drop in, fall in bridge pose. We've got a lot of external rotation in those hips. That's what helps us wring them out, open them, release that stress. But now we want to get a little bit of a counter pose in there. Rotate the hips the other way to help balance out our bodies. There's lots of things that happen in our lives that contribute to the stress that our bodies hold. Some of those things are out of our control. There's certainly some things happening in our world right now that we really can't do a lot about. It's just about how we adjust to it and how we choose to respond to it. Those are things that maybe add stress and tension to your life. And those are things that we can use the tools of yoga to help alleviate that stress. There are also stresses in our lives that we might contribute to. Maybe there are people we give our energy to that we know add stress to our life. Maybe there's things that we do in our life that no longer serve us, just take from us. So while the tools of yoga are here to help us release that stress and tension from the body, I encourage you today to reflect on what are some things that we can let go of in our lives? What are some things that no longer serve us? What can we replace those things with to help feed our soul? Just notice what comes up. As your body's ready, go ahead and release one leg and then the other. Release one arm and then the other. Lift the back, roll the shoulders under the body. Feel your body release into the ground. This is our final resting posture, Shavasana. You've worked hard today. Enjoy this moment of relaxation. Begin to slowly move the fingers and the toes. Slowly wake up the body. When you're ready, roll to one side. Spend a moment here, still in that deep meditative state. From here, slowly push up back into our easy seat. Bring your hands to the heart. Take a moment to thank yourself for making it to the mat today, for moving your body, for releasing some tension. Yogis, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.